Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news as Erik ten Hag targets the next Erling Haaland, goes crazy for Enzo Fernandez. We'll also be talking about a bit of a surprise call-up for a Manchester United player for the World Cup, maybe. Also, an ex-United legend forming an interesting relationship with Erik ten Hag. And has the Carabao Cup become a real opportunity for silverware for Manchester United without us even kicking a ball? Lots to get into on the show this morning, and I'm loving the morning shows at the morning. I'm loving all this news that's coming out, and I'm very excited about this story that we've got about this player that could be the next Haaland, that could be a real opportunity for Manchester United to jump on, and I feel is perfect for what I've been saying for the last few days. We need to be buying the next Erling Haalands, the next Harry Kanes, not the current ones, and build our own players. So we'll fly into that, but as you can see on my left-hand side, we are sponsored by OneFootball on the show this morning. OneFootball is a free football app where you can get all your football news, transfer news, latest stats, etc. But they've also got some huge news for you today, which I've told you about before. Do you like watching free football? Because of course you do. And OneFootball is letting you watch one free Italian Serie A league game directly on your phone or Apple TV every week, totally free if you live in the UK and Ireland, which is great because you might finally get to watch Paul Pogba play a decent game if he ever gets fit. But the Italian league, Napoli, we've spoken about Osimhen, there's some fantastic footballers over there, Rafael Leao, really good competitive league to watch. And if that's not enough for you, you can also get Serie A league game highlights, every Italian Serie A game on there as well, to enjoy the best Italian football's got to offer. And so OneFootball is not only the best place to get the latest match scores, football news, but they've really upped their game here. Honestly, you don't need any other football app, so make sure you are up to date with the best fans on the planet. So what are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description, scan the QR code next to me, and download OneFootball today, totally for free. Totally for free, as I said. I repeated that. Thanks so much to OneFootball for supporting the channel. And yeah, check it out. Watch your Serie A football highlights and all your other news as well. And we've got lots of stuff to get into today. Remember, you can scan the QR code with your phone or go through the link in the description. I'm going to start off with the next Haaland story. Enzo Fernandez is no secret. We have sort of hinted about him. Robert McCormack didn't sleep last night. He was thinking about that Harry Kane story. Well, I still think it's relevant, Robert. I do. I really do. But we're going to start off with a story that's coming out of Germany. Some of you might know about this player. The next Erling Haaland, potentially, certainly plays for Dortmund. He's just been called up for the Germany World Cup squad. Youssoufa Moukoko. I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably not. He's 17. He's only 17 years old. And he's signing, he's only got 1 year left on his contract as well. I believe his contract, I might be wrong about this, but I think his contract, I'm actually going to do this live on air. What was his name? Moukoko. Oh, I've typed it wrong. I think his contract's up in the summer. Oh, type his bloody name right might be a good idea, Goldbridge, a bloody idiot. Right, so let's have a look here. Player profile. Contract up in June 2023. I don't know, that can't be right. I'd heard it was 2024, but look, that is a really interesting thing. Now, to be honest with you, he looks good. He looks really good, and I know people will go, oh, here we go, it's not going to happen. These are the sort of deals that United have got to stick their bloody nose in. We've got to start sticking our nose in for these sort of deals. We might get stung on a few, but these are the sort of deals you've got to go for. He is really exciting. He's got next to nothing left on his contract. And of course, Dortmund are in possession of him and can say, look at Jude Bellingham, look at Jadon Sancho, look at all the development we've done. You don't need to go anywhere else. You're 17, you're at Dortmund, you know, you're in the German national squad. You don't need to go anywhere. Just stay here for a couple of years and then you'll go to Bayern Munich, which is the normal route, isn't it? But, you know, maybe there's a way in. Maybe there's a way in. Ten Hag's got a very good history around the Bundesliga. Obviously, he was there at Bayern Munich as the reserve team coach. We should be having that conversation. We should be, you know, not being respectful. We should be sticking our nose in and going, look, we're looking for a striker. You'd be bloody brilliant for us. We'll develop you and make you one of the best strikers in the world. Look at Erling Haaland at Manchester City. Come to Manchester United. And I think you've got to look at those sort of deals. Harry Kane posters to sell second-hand, very cheap, says Robert McCormack. Mark, you should play your strongest team as it's the only cup you can win and we are out, says Amy Miassi. I'll be ordering my Christmas jumper soon. Love the design, says Jamie. Thank you very much. And think Barcelona have been linked with him as well, Mark, says Simon. Loads of people have been linked with him. Loads of people have been linked with him. But look, I just want to say this. I'll come back to Moukoko in a moment. We'll talk about Enzo Fernandez and a few other bits and the Carabao Cup. I think we've got a great opportunity in that. But we spoke about Osman last night, and somebody messaged me and said, I don't know why you're so down on Osman. We could easily sign Osman in January. And absolutely not. We can't. And this is why you've got to look at the next Osman, the next Harry Kane, because they're going to cost you nearly £100 million. Scouting and getting the talent before it costs £100 million could save you £80 million, and then you've got them. Imagine if we did get hold of this Moukoko and he became one of the world's best strikers. You get him from Dortmund, very cheap because he's only got 1 year left on his contract. He comes to United because we're a big club, we're going somewhere, and Ten Hag is a developmental coach. And he stays at United for, 8 years? And maybe he does go to Real Madrid, but he goes for about 200 million. Like, you've got to start getting these players before they become the £100 million players that we always keep having to buy. Dizzy, welcome to the Members Club. We're not going to get Osman. This person said to me we can get Osman in January. We can't get Osman in January. I don't even know how to describe how we can't get Osman in January. He wouldn't come to Man United in January. If he's got his head switched on, he wouldn't do it. It's like the grass isn't always greener, isn't it? Just down the road from me, sometimes when I'm driving Seb to school, we go a different route to beat the traffic. And there's this quite busy road. It's a single carriageway, so it's not, it's cars coming both way. And on the left-hand side is the local park, Tudor Grange Park it is. And along the grass verge, we always see these rabbits. And Seb goes, look at those rabbits. I hope they don't get run over. They're not stupid rabbits. The grass is there. The grass is probably nicer than it is in the park, and they're just sat there eating the grass. They're never going to cross the road because they're happy with the grass that they've got. I think that's Osman if he was a rabbit. He's chewing on his grass, he's happy, he's with it, he's having a good time, right? He's fine. Across the other side of the road, the grass might look really good. But Osman is not going to cross that busy road to go over there because one, he might end up getting flattened, and two, when he gets there, the grass may not taste as nice, and then he's got to go back across the road again, and they won't let him back. So Osman is not going to leave come to Manchester United in January because he's happy eating the grass on that side of the road. Why risk roadkill? He's not going to do it. He may not want to do it in the summer, but he's certainly not going to do it in January. So we can't, I just think we've got to stop looking at these types of deals. I think we've got to stop looking at spending £100 million on a player that might work or might not work, but basically is somebody else's hard work. We've got to look at these players, whether it's from Brazil, whether it's from France, whether it's from Germany. Is this not what Ten Hag is all about? He's about developmental coaching, and the scouting needs to match him because he will take a player and turn him into the next big thing. So Victor Rabbit Osman, says Maurice. Yeah, well, and yeah. So look, I think we've got to be wary of how we approach this, and I certainly think that we've got the manager who can do it. On Moukoko, look, Man City have been linked to him. Barcelona have been linked to him. If he's only got 1 year left on his contract, what is he all about? Well, look, he's at Dortmund. He's just been called up to the World Cup, and I think he's just under 6 foot. From what I've seen of him, and look, I'm going off a lot of other things, and Sport Bild have linked him to Manchester United this morning, by the way, so it's coming from Germany. From what I've seen of him, quick, good finisher, likes to run with the ball, got a good shot on him, passing's quite good. Doesn't look particularly good in the air. I wouldn't imagine his link-up play is that good at 17 yet. But, I mean, I'd ignore all the faults and I'd look at all the positives. There's not many people at 17 that can come on into the Dortmund team and start scoring goals like he has and get called up to the World Cup. He's a very exciting player. We've got absolutely no chance of getting him, actually. The more I talk about it, we won't get him. But that's what we should be looking to do. We've got to become a place that players go, I want to play for Ten Hag. He will develop me. That if we had the reputation of Borussia Dortmund, we would get all the good young players. It's not difficult. The reason the young players want to go to Dortmund is because they get developed and they get picked. We've got a better ground, we've got a better fan base, and we play in the best league in the world. We can be Dortmund, but we've got to put the structure in place to be it. You need the scouts and recruitment to be able to get hold of these players early, and then you've got to, I believe we've got the manager and the coaches to develop. So, it's on Manchester United. So keep your eye on that. He's an interesting player. Youssoufa Is it Youssoufa Moukoko of Borussia Dortmund? He's 17 years of age. He's been playing for Dortmund, scoring goals. He's just been called up for the World Cup. Lots of people are interested in him. His contract's up in the summer. Personally think he'll probably sign a new contract at Dortmund, and maybe that is the right thing to do. I always look at it, if he was a 17... Look at Garnacho. Do we want Garnacho to go anywhere else? No, we want him to stay at Manchester United. But you've got to start looking at those. And maybe we don't get Moukoko, and maybe he is the next Erling Haaland, and maybe he goes to Barcelona and maybe becomes that. Maybe we don't get him, but there'll be others. People talk about Sesko. There'll be one coming around. And they're like buses. There'll be another young superstar striker coming around in the next 12 months. And United need to be making sure that they'll know about it. There'll be some lad who is like 15, 16 at the moment. And in the next 2 years... and he'll be well known in the football industry. He'll come through somewhere, whether it's at Lille, whether it's at bloody Leverkusen, whether it's at PSV, whether it's in South America. They'll come through in the next year or so. And United need to be on that conversation. Moises Caicedo is one of those players we would have signed on the cheap, says Paul. So annoyed we linked to him again for a crazy fee. Yeah, well, United bottled that, didn't they? They didn't fancy that. Anyway, let's see what happens with Moukoko. On to Enzo Fernandez. This was a story that sort of broke yesterday from Portugal. I'm always very dubious of stories from Portugal. Apparently Manchester United are crazy for Enzo Fernandez and they would like to bring him in. Who is Enzo Fernandez? Well, you may well remember us speaking about Enzo Fernandez about a year ago. He was a player very linked to Manchester United in the Rangnick early days. I suspect that this is a player that Ralf Rangnick told Manchester United to get. Just like he told them to go and get a few other players that I think they should have got. Akanji, Lema. There's a few others that, that stick out like a sore thumb. But Enzo Fernandez was definitely a player that we were talking about in the January transfer window and just before it a year ago. He was doing really, really good things in the Argentinian league. I think, my memory... I'm doing this off the cuff. I've not taken any notes on Enzo Fernandez because arrogantly I thought I knew what I was doing. I've been in this position before. I remember being 17 and thought I knew what I was doing and I basically messed up. But there's plenty more fish in the sea was my motto. She was very experienced. Yeah, she had, she must have been over 30 to be fair. Anyway, look, I move on. Definitely knew what she was doing. I was like a rabbit. Going back to the rabbit, I was roadkill. I was a rabbit in the headlights. I was out on a night out. I'm chewing on my grass. That's not a metaphor for anything. I'm out with the lads. I'm chewing on my grass in my lane. Absolutely happy. Looked over the road and thought, I can do that. And I was a rabbit in the headlights. I didn't know what I was doing, and I got eaten alive. Basically, it wasn't roadkill. It was cannibalism. She demolished me. Anyway, and not in a good way. But anyway, let's move on. I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. Yeah, I've come into this arrogant. I thought I knew everything about Enzo Fernandez, which I sort of do, but I just like to say there's no criminal charges there. She was a lot older than me, but I was of age. People are going, "What? How old were you? This looks really bad." I love all the Susbridge stuff. Yeah, like a lad, like a man being with a woman is suspect. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go to Enzo Fernandez, who I don't know how old he is. He must be about 20, 21. I know he played in Argentina, and I think it was Boca Juniors, but I'm suspecting it might be River Plate now. So somebody in the chat will know. And we were looking at him. I believe Rangnick was telling Manchester United to go and get him. Obviously, a year ago, this club would never go and buy... Well, they didn't want to buy anyone anyway. They basically closed the January transfer market, didn't they? He told them to get Alvarez. He went to Man City. And United didn't get him, and he went to Benfica in the summer. Despite Manchester United being told to go and get him. So, look, really interesting profile of player. He's gone to Benfica. He's done really, really well. What's his position? I mean, look... He's played CDM, he's played box-to-box. He's a tenacious player, he's very good on the ball. United apparently crazy for him, Ten Hag likes him. The problem I've got with this story is two things. One, it's coming out of Portugal, and, we all remember Gayton. All right, we did get Bruno, but there was a lot of crap written about that, and ultimately we ended up getting him. I just don't think that Enzo Fernandez is going to come to Manchester United, and it's a big reason why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. He's only just signed for Benfica. like literally last summer. He's on a contract till 2027. He's a really interesting, exciting player, but we've missed the boat. It's the same as what I was speaking about Moukoko and going for Osimhen or Kane. If we get Enzo Fernandez, we're going to pay 60, 70 million pounds to get him. He's only been there for 6 months. They don't really want to sell him, and they know they've got a player there that they're going to make a lot of money on. So someone mentioned Casido. Like, I think we've got to look. Enzo Fernandez looks like a really good player. We missed out. We've just got to go, no. We can't keep spending 60, 70 million pounds giving people like Benfica and everybody else their big payday because we were too naive and weak to not go and get him when he was in Argentina. We knew about him. We were told to go and get him, and we didn't. And we've let somebody else do it, and now we're going to pay them big. It's the same with Casido. We knew about Casido. We could have got him for 5 million quid, and we went, no, too much of a risk. And now we want to give Brighton 50. You can't keep doing that. We need to learn the lesson that Enzo Fernandez, Casido, and there's many of others, we need to start getting them when we hear about them, before they make that move, because then we pay big for them. And there's plenty of players out there. So, look, apparently he's got a 99 million buyout clause. Dylan says he's valued at 35 million now. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. Why would Benfica let him go for 35 million pounds? It's not going to happen. Enzo Fernandez is not going to happen. I think it's paper talk. It's not going to happen. And what we need to do is we 100% have got the right manager. He needs to be allowed to get the right scouts in place, and we need to start getting Enzo Fernandez before he goes to Benfica. Get this Moukoko now. Get Haaland before he goes to Man City or Dortmund. We've had these opportunities. We could have got Haaland. Haaland's not staying at Man City for life. He's there for 3 years and he's going to Real Madrid. United didn't go for Haaland because they got arrogant. They were like, we don't want Haaland for 3 years with a release clause. We want him without that. Man City have done it. Man City are doing exactly what we could have done. They are keeping Haaland for 3 years, then they're selling him on, and there's a release clause there. That's happening. That will happen. And Man City are happy for it to happen because it's like 3 years of Haaland. Look at what's happening already. United need to get rid of this. Oh, we don't want to take the risk. We don't want the release clause. Get these players. What normally happens with Man United, look at Martinez. He's been here 3 months. He bloody loves the club. He loves the fans. Get them at the bloody club, and then you can talk about whether we can keep them longer. But you've got to go and get the talent. You've got to go and get the talent. Should have gotten Paqueta instead of wasting time on Frankie de Jong, says Miet. I just feel, and I don't know what everyone else feels, I think that Manchester United need to stop shopping at Harrods and start going to Marks and Spencer's, Tesco, Sainsbury's, even Aldi, even Lidl. I feel that we've got £100 million in our pocket. We go to Harrods, we buy the £100 million thing, and then we go, ooh, we need loads more. We've spent all our money. We've got to be better at spending money. We've spent a lot of money, but I would question. You get these rivals who stick their nose in and go, you've spent £1 billion in the last 10 years. And you go, all right then, do you want to sit down and have a real chat about how we spent it badly? No, I don't. I just want to say you spent £1 billion in the last year, what you're moaning about money. Well, come on, sit down, let's have a chat about it then. No, I don't want to because I'll get exposed. I just want to shout that you spent £1 billion in the last year and why you're moaning about money. So basically you're a prat. You're sticking your nose in, shouting something that's completely irrelevant, and you don't want to be sat down literally and physically and have a chat about why we've spent it badly. Because I would love to sit down and go through, and we've done it before, how United have spent £1 billion badly. Look, straight away, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 50 million quid. We could have spent that £50 million on 2 younger, more talented right-backs, 2 for 1. Harry Maguire, £80 million. I'm not blaming the players, by the way. £80 million on Harry Maguire. We could have got 2 really good up-and-coming centre-backs from Europe and we'd be in a better position. So that's 2 signings straight away where we spent shitloads of money on something. Anthony, £85 million. Literally would have got him for £55 million if we'd bought him in June. There's been so much wastage. We've got to spend better and we've got to spend earlier. And by spending earlier, we'll get players for cheaper. I guarantee you, Ten Hag will be sat there next month and he'll be sat there with his scouts and they'll have a player from South America that's going to be the next Jesus. There'll be a player from Germany, who's going to be the next Thomas Muller. There'll be a player from France who's going to be the next Raphael Varane. The question is, will we move for them, or will we let Benfica and Leicester and everyone else get them for cheap, and then in 2 years' time we'll spend £90 million on them? We've got to stop doing that. We can do it. We're a bigger attraction. You think about Leicester and some of the players they brought in, and I'm only going to go off the top of my head. Glazers big dollars for asset value to protect dividends, says Richard Spencer. You think about, let me just read this. Mark, I think we should go for a player like Gakpo in the summer rather than spending big on one player. Govind, we can get him in January. Where are the anti-English ageist snobs who turn their nose up at Trippier now? Best right back in Europe, says Duncan, and would have been ideal in a United team that can't cross, says Duncan. I never wanted Trippier. I never wanted Trippier, to be honest with you, at Manchester United. I think it was the wrong move to make. I really do. But, you look at Leicester, yeah? And what I was saying there, Kante, Fofana, all these players, there's many more that they've brought in. Even Ndidi, I know they've not sold him on, but Leicester have brought in loads of players for cheap that are worth 10 times what they bought them. Even Harry Maguire. If we'd have moved, I think there's this myth that Man United can't buy Kante before he goes to Leicester. They can't buy Fofana from France before he goes to Leicester. Imagine we'd gone for Fofana. Imagine our scouting had been backed up and gone, I don't know whether we wanted Fofana. And we're bidding against Leicester for Fofana, yeah? He's going to come to us. We're Manchester United. Stadia, history, fan base. The player's going to come to us. We need to get involved in those deals. I mean, look at Malacia. He's going to Lyon. If he'd gone to Lyon and done really well, Malacia probably comes to Man United or Arsenal in a couple of years for 30 million instead of us getting him for 12 from Feyenoord. So we've got to start getting involved in those deals, really. That's what I think Manchester United need to do. Yeah, interesting topics this morning. Really interested by it. Let me just talk to you about trophies. I just want to say this because I'll forget. The Carabao Cup has suddenly opened its, I nearly said, legs and said, come on in. It's certainly opened its doors, is a better term. The no Arsenal, no Chelsea and no Spurs, they're gone. They got knocked out last night. So Liverpool went through on penalties, Man City beat Chelsea. If we win tonight, there's only 3 winners of that Carabao Cup for me. I'll be respectful to the other teams that are in it, but realistically, look at the Carabao Cup final for the last few years. It's either Man City winning it or it was Liverpool, Chelsea last year. We do need a reset. I mean, I'm not turning my nose up at the Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup is a trophy, and it would break the cycle of no trophy in 5 years. There's an opportunity presenting itself there. I mean, I agree with Sammy that Man City will win the Carabao Cup, but I mean, look, it's physically impossible for us to win the Europa League, get top 4, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. We can't do it. But as I said last night, you don't know when to pull out. God, there's some very big sexual innuendos on this show this morning. Apologies, it's way too early. But you don't know when to pull out to be safe. So just rub her up. But the point I'm trying to make is, see, we're responsible on this channel. There's all sorts of messages going out there. What I mean is, if we just say we don't want to be in the Carabao Cup, and maybe Arsenal did that last night. Maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe they did. You don't know what's going to happen in the next round. What if Liverpool pull out Man City and Liverpool beat Man City? That leaves Liverpool with a free run for the Carabao Cup. It's worth hanging in the Carabao Cup for now and making a decision in January is what I'm trying to say, because I think get out of the Carabao Cup if you're trying to win the Europa League and get top 4. But if we play Barcelona and we get knocked out in February, there's no more Europa League games. And if you're still in the Carabao Cup, happy days. So I think it's not the time to get knocked out of the Carabao Cup yet. It may be at some point, but it's not yet. And suddenly there's an opportunity for United. I'm not saying we're favourites to win. Man City are favourites. I still think Liverpool are better than us. But I think we've got a good shout at saying if we win tonight, we're third favourites for the tournament. And whereas we were probably yesterday morning 6th or 7th favourites. So there's an opportunity there that's opened up. If you're not aware, Chelsea, Spurs, and Arsenal all out. And some people might say, well, that's very clever from Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool. I wouldn't disagree. They are competitors for us, not Liverpool, Spurs. But look, I think we've got to go and win tonight and stay in the tournament, and we can reassess after the World Cup. Up, Chicken Joe United, could you shout out? Says Ben. There you go. I'm enjoying the show this morning. I have the biggest exam in med school coming up. Wish me luck, people, says Shady. Good luck, mates. Good luck. Always need people with medicine. Newcastle are still in it, says Chris. And Newcastle will give it a good go. But with all due respect, Man United can give Newcastle a game. We can give Newcastle a game. We can give Liverpool a game. It's Man City you want to get knocked out, but they obviously knocked Chelsea out. Zero Blade said it's very clever from Arsenal because they're in a title race and we're not. No, I agree. I think there's a positive to being... Look, I'm not going to lie and be a hypocrite. There is a positive to being knocked out of the Carabao Cup. And if we get knocked out tonight, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, that's ridiculous. I'll say it's a missed opportunity, though, because when you get 3 of the bigger teams knocked out, it makes the tournament easier to win. So, look, there's an opportunity that's presented itself. Let's see what team he picks tonight. There was a lot of rotation for a lot of the big teams. I was going to do Man City, Chelsea as a watch-along, and then I saw the team lineups, and I was like, bloody hell, I'm not. I'd rather get a pair of tweezers and, pull out my... No. I still think we should use your preferred lineup, says Ike. Sam Games, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Thank you very much for joining, mate. Mozan says, I wouldn't mind getting knocked out. I just want to see rotation tonight. I've seen a few lineups where it's Maguire and Martinez at centre-back, and I'm like, fucking hell. Martinez has got a World Cup to play, and we've got Fulham away on Sunday. I don't want to see Martinez playing tonight. I really don't, and he probably bloody will. And also, what I would say is, the World Cup's going to happen. We're all going to watch it, let's be honest, because there's nothing else to watch. Mane's out of the World Cup now. Who are we going to lose this weekend? And I really don't want to see a Martinez or a Casemiro missing out on the World Cup, because I don't think they deserve it. They've played so many games for us over the last few weeks, and a World Cup's a big... Look, whatever you think about England, and, we'll see who gets picked, but... For teams like Brazil and Argentina, the World Cup is massive. It's absolutely massive. And they've got a good chance of winning it. That reminds me, actually, Marcus Rashford is expected to be named in the England World Cup squad. I don't think he's been in an England squad for a very, very long time. Obviously, he wasn't in the last one. I don't know when the last time Rashford was called up, but he's had a, he is one of Southgate's favourites. Do I think Rashford should be going to the World Cup? Look, I think that it's going to be I'm going to do a video on That's Football, just reacting to the World Cup squad for England. I've heard that Tomori might not be going, and I'm like, he's won a... Look, Tomori should go, for me. I would even argue that you should be building your centre-back pairing with Tomori in it, because he's a modern centre-back. Yes, he's made some mistakes in the Champions League, of course he has, but he's been brilliant for AC Milan. And they won Serie A last year. For him not to go to the World Cup, I think, is disgusting. Especially when you think about people like Calvin Phillips going, who hasn't played any football for Man City and has been injured. I mean, you could even say Harry Maguire going. He doesn't even get picked for Man United. But that's Southgate for you. Bringing it back to Man United, do I think Rashford should go to the World Cup? He wants to go to the World Cup, and obviously it's the same as Varane. I want Man United players to be happy and go and live their dreams, really. It's not their fault the World Cup is going to have a massive impact on our season from January to May. They're going to be tired. Would I prefer Rashford didn't go to the World Cup? Not really. I don't. I want to see Rashford go to the World Cup. I want to see him play well and bring that form back to Manchester United. So, look, I'm happy that Rashford's going. Yeah, I think. And do I think he should go to the World Cup? Absolutely. I think that maybe there was a time a few months ago where I would have said no, but Raheem Sterling's playing badly. Harry Kane looks tired. Grealish doesn't get in the Man City side. Mount's not playing particularly well. I think Foden's brilliant, but Southgate never gets the best out of him. Saka's played very well. So, yeah, Callum Wilson's done well. But I think Rashford gives you options, yeah. United are a Martinez injury away from being in big trouble, says Simon Pinero. And welcome to the Members Club, Nico. Thank you very much for that. Apparently, Rashford's last game for England was the Euros final. Interesting. He won't start for England anyway. Well, you don't know. You don't know. But look, I think Rashford will get named in the squad, and I think that's really interesting. One thing that was interesting this morning I read, and I don't know how true it is, I read that Wayne Rooney's building a good relationship with Erik ten Hag and has actually spent time in his tracksuit at Carrington quite a few times. I mean, I don't know how true that story is, but obviously it tugs on the heartstrings a bit. I mean, I think Rooney has done exactly what I thought he would do. I think the last couple of years of Rooney at Man United were quite, I was one of those saying when he needs to go. He was finished and he needed to go. And I think when you're a legend of the club, you want them out. It's like Solskjaer at the end. I just wanted him out because you don't want to tarnish what they've done at the club. And look, those last couple of years with Rooney were difficult. There was a lot of people who were just fed up of him and wanted him to move on. And you don't want to disrespect a legend like that. But I did say at the time, if he moves on, we'll forget these last 2 years really quickly and we'll remember what really mattered was how brilliant and what a legend he was. And time will be kind. It's the same with Ronaldo. If this ends up being the end of Ronaldo, we'll very quickly forget the storming off and we'll focus on, what a legend is. But Rooney being back involved at Man United, I'm not ready for the whole Carricky, Solskjaer thing again. I'm not ready for assistant coaches who used to play for the club. I really do just want to leave that. I like the idea of it, but I'm still very bruised from that absolute beating we took as fans by getting Ollie on the wheel and Carrick and that. It just didn't work. And that's not to say it can't work, but I'm not really fussed about having an ex-player as a coach or an assistant manager or anything like that. Maybe the club still really like that idea. Maybe this is the beginning of Rooney being brought in by Ten Hag at some point in the next 18 months. I know the club are massive about this, and I know a lot of fans are as well. They just love that whole let's get an ex-player involved. And Rooney might not be a terrible one to get involved, but it's not something that massively excites me at the moment, and that's not Rooney's fault. I'm just very happy with the reset button being hit. I'm very happy with Ten Hag bringing in his players from the Dutch league, bringing his coaching staff from Ajax, and having very little touch point with the past. I think that, did Sir Alex Ferguson do that when he came down from Aberdeen? No, he just rebuilt the football club. Klopp did it at Liverpool. I think United need to just let Ten Hag do whatever he wants to do and not be too interested or focused on people from the past. There have been pictures of Rooney at Carrington with the United badge on his tracksuit, says Sam. Yeah, it's an interesting one, Sam. And look, all I'm going to say is, and I said it about Fred yesterday, if this is what Erik Ten Hag wants to do, then we back him on that. But we're always going to have our own opinions, and my opinion is I'm just not ready for the whole bringing in players from the past. I'm not really interested in it. I think we're moving in the right direction, and yeah, I think things are going well, and hopefully tonight we can do well. We can do well. Don't forget to download OneFootball. It's free to do it. All your latest football news, stats, match reports, and you can get your Serie A highlights and a Serie A game each week for free if you live in the UK and Ireland. So download that. Thanks very much to OneFootball. We have got the watch along for you tonight. I am going to be doing a video on That's Football at some point this afternoon, reacting to the England squad if you're interested in that. Football Manager will be on Twitch at 3 o'clock. Goldbridge Ball is up and running. The highlights are on That's Football for that as well. Get involved. Thanks everyone for watching. I enjoyed that show this morning. I'm really enjoying the morning shows for some reason at the moment. Really enjoying them. So thanks everyone for joining me. Football Manager 11 PM after World Cup, like you did with Red Dead and the other games, so you can bring the thingy back, says Nathan Allen. Okay. Hi Mark, what are your thoughts on Iqbal? Patrick, I'd love to see him get some game time, but I do agree with Erik Ten Hag that, like Garnacho, these young players have got to deserve their place. They can't just be thrown in. But I'm very interested to see what the team is tonight, and I'm looking forward to it because we should see a bit of rotation. Henderson in the England squad, says Young God. Not if Pope, Ramsdale and Pickford are fit. He won't be. I'd be very surprised. I've heard Maddison is in the squad, and then I've heard he's not in the squad. Whatever happens, I'll tweet about it if I hear anything. Thanks for watching. Take care. Don't forget OneFootball. Loved the show this morning. The hardcore is here, and I'll speak to you in a bit. I'm not talking about porn there. I mean, I'm talking about you lot being the hardcore United stand viewers.